Have you ever had an interest in learning to cook?
No,
Why not?
because I was born that way, and it seems like a chore that would take me away from my other interests, and therefore I have not ever entertained a desire to learn to cook.
When you grew up, did your mother or your father do the cooking?
Yes,
Both?
both.
Both.
My mother.
And did your mother try to teach you how to cook?
Well, in a way, yes, because I had to be on my own at certain times. I was at least a teenager, so I learned to make lamb chops, frankfurters, various cold dishes, eggs, not bacon because that was taboo,
Uh-huh.
and bananas and cream, sour cream. Oh, we loved that.
Uh-huh.
And we would get absolutely delicious bagels, onion rolls at the so-called Commission Bakery within walking distance of my house. I loved to eat, but I didn't like to prepare meals. I make a good omelet.
Uh-huh. Have you ever made me an omelet?
No.
I don't recall that.
Oh, no. I have no requests. Made just my own.
When's the last time you made an omelet?
Last week. My routine now is on 3 days a week I can have an egg. That's the weekend and Wednesdays. Okay? Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. And I can make the egg any way I want. The other days I have healthy cereals. Whole wheats and grain and fiber and stuff like that.
So you have a healthy diet.
Who cares?
Well,
I'm not going to defend it. Probably one can criticize my omelets because I load it with cheese and pepperoni.
uh-huh. But on the whole, do you think you have a healthy diet?
I think so because your blessed mother knows
Uh-huh.
everything.
Yeah.
And she prepares healthy foods.
Are you a good driver?
I think so.
Uh-huh.
Not the greatest, but your mother complains
What does she complain about?
about stopping too short. If the light changes before I'm prepared, you know,
Uh-huh.
and I have to step on the brakes, I managed to do it too abruptly, whereas she would like a nice smooth stop. And she complains that I roll if we're stopped for a light or traffic, and I've stopped, and then I let the car drift a little bit. That makes her nauseous. She's constantly criticizing my driving.
Dad, what are your observations about President Trump?
Oh, I think he's a sociopath. I don't believe anything he says. So that when he makes a statement and people say, oh, that's terrible, I say, but you don't listen to him. He'll change. He could change tomorrow. He is a sociopath, unsuitable to be our president, but the only remedy we have, it seems, at the moment, is the next election in 2 years to make sure he does not have his barking dogs behind him, supporting him. It is important to elect an independent Congress.
Well, how do you see the Trump administration playing out? This Trump administration's
In 2
been in
ways.
power for just a month at this point.
Yeah. I see 2 possibilities. Impeachment because of his incompetence and pathology, or he'll dig his own grave, make a mess, so that the people in the next general election, 2 years, will express antagonism towards him by voting against his lapdogs. And therefore, that might make an impression on him. He may change his ways. I think, as a sociopath, you cannot rely on him. His ways may change. He may become better, more sane, or more unbalanced. I think we're in for an interesting time. Fortunately, I and my family are situated so that we won't be just deported or harassed and sent to jail.
Do you see the ascendancy of the right in the United States as as part of a trend
Yes.
in American politics?
Yes.
How do you see it?
Yeah. I look at history as a series of cycles, going from one extreme to another. And of course, most of the time in between where things are peaceful, progressing. But I think the country has lived for 250 years, and we've had several convulsions, and we're going through one now. And it's sort of a cathartic thing. The people, too many of them have been disgruntled. They're upset with their spouses, with their job, with their golf score, with their team, and they take it out on the government and complain that the government is all the bad things, which is not really true. There are bad eggs, of course. What I think I'm more afraid than I am of Trump, is that the electoral process, which you are addressing, is not fair. That the wheels of democracy are, what do you call it, not meshing properly. That the just voter suppression, you call it, that's one thing, and voter turnout, which is not really representative of the country. I think Hillary won the popular vote. Maybe she would have won more states if there had been a really honest count of votes. So I'm looking, hopefully, optimistically, forward to the next general. Yes.
Well, do you have any thoughts about how, if humans will ever be able to determine what created matter and the forces of the universe and created time?
I don't know what time is. That's a physical concept which Einstein's and physicists have discussed in a different way from the way I understand it. I don't understand Einstein, but I think we will learn more about the creation of the universe as time goes on, and given the intellectual freedom allowed for science to progress unhampered.
I'll change the subject again.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets about your life? Yes, would you like to talk about some of them?
Not really.
Okay.
I can think of instances when I was rude to my parents, when I snapped at people who trusted me. I called them crazy for suggesting something when that was not called for, and maybe sometimes I slapped my children. That was a little too extreme. I have not led a perfect life, and I can remember things that I did that I'm sorry for and wish it didn't happen, which benefited me. I was very lucky that I met Eileen, one, that I was born in America, that Dr. George Clark came to the University of Buffalo and pretty much rescued me from a incomplete education and opportunity in physical, biological sciences. But Buffalo was a haven for me, and I did not have the opportunity. There were not the people there in the kind of going in the direction I became interested in from my studies at Buffalo.
Which was?
Which was more biological. The people at Buffalo were more behavioral. They were more Skinnerian and learning. I was more brain function. And fortunately, George Clark came at the medical school there and was looking for a recruit, an assistant. And I fitted the bill, fell right in. And that was the start of my being on the right track for the zeitgeist at that time where psychology was going. More physical. You know, I don't have a good grasp of the time, the zeitgeist for molecular biology, but that would have been a very exciting field. And putting them on a pedestal. John Locke, his essays on liberty, I remember reading them and being influenced by them. Reichenbach, a philosopher, on his belief in causality and physics.
Why did you need rescuing?
Well, actually, the University of Buffalo was not as equipped as, not the best school for me. I had to get out of New York, as you know.
Yes.
Because of family situation. And
that was after 1 year of graduate school at NYU.
Yes, yeah, NYU would have been better. So, but Buffalo was a haven for me. And I did not have the opportunity. There were not the people there in the kind of going in the direction I became interested in from my studies at Buffalo.
Which was?
Which was more biological. The people at Buffalo were more behavioral. They were more Skinnerian and learning. I was more brain function. And fortunately, George Clark came at the medical school there and was looking for a recruit, an assistant. And I fitted the bill, fell right in. And that was the start of my being on the right track for the zeitgeist at that time where psychology was going. More physical.
Was Clark one of the sponsors of your thesis?
Yes.
And where did he come from?
Going into molecular biology would have been a possibility a little late in my graduate school. But when did molecular biology come into the forefront? I'm not sure. You know, I don't have a good grasp of the time, the zeitgeist for molecular biology. But that would have been a very exciting field. You know, you heard about this new CRISP agent for changing genetic makeup, you know? Well,
Yes.
That's very big now,
Yes.
and it's going to become bigger, you know? And I would have liked to have been in that area.
About your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. Last time we talked, last time we had this interview 12 years ago, you didn't have so many, I think you had, all of your grandchildren had been born, but you didn't have any great-grandchildren.
That's right.
What do you want to say about them?
Oh, I think they're so cute, and I so appreciate them, the grandkids, the parents, sending us Instagrams and videos and Facebook and emails, photos and videos of them doing things. They're very enjoyable. That's a lot of fun, you know.
Why do you think it is so much fun to have
I don't know.
grandchildren and great-grandchildren besides the fact that they're very cute?
Yeah. Well, I think we are humans, healthy humans are hardwired to just melt and adore and want to kiss and hug and be protective of little infants. Their big eyes, their smiles. Little babies at the age of several months start smiling at a face, you know. I used to experiment with you guys when you were babies. Make a pillow, put 2 buttons and a little pin for a mouth and a nose, and you would smile at that. And that melts an adult's heart. You want to hug them. So, and this is hardwired. You can't help it.
Is there any
So-
significance to the fact that they're your issue, that they're your progeny?
I don't feel any like a royal dynasty. No, I don't feel that there is a blood connection on a dynasty. Like the kings and needed a son, and
Are there things that you don't like about yourself that you wish you could have changed or you'd still like to change?
I don't dwell on it. There probably are.
What about things you like about yourself? I mean, how do you see yourself? And
I don't dwell on that either.
you don't
I
give it
just-
much thought.
No, no. I'm very lucky, family-wise, American-wise, being an American, and financially, and I'll call it luck. I thank God, and my God is mere expression.
Do you, I'm sorry.
But I feel lucky and blessed. But I don't dwell on it.
So do you spend, you don't, it sounds like you don't spend much time second guessing yourself,
That's right.
beating yourself
Not much
up.
time.
Have you ever?
Second guessed?
Yes.
Sure. Did I do the right thing, the right experiment? Did I make the right performance, right answer to the test.
Have you ever had a period in your life where you had we had strong self-doubt, where you were where you were distressed about decisions that you made? Have you ever had a period in your life like that?
Well, did I do the right thing by breaking from my family, my mother and father, well, my father mostly, and insisting that Eileen is best for me? I think that decision hurt, but is the best decision I ever made. And there are times when in the literature, theater, movies, situations like that arise. And I think, how did that reflect on me, pertain to me and my decision? And I justify it again and again and again. I did the right thing. That I could have gone another way, been a good son to my father and mother, but that would not have been a good decision for me. And that my father was wrong about his insistence that Jews, his family, must go this way. No, he was wrong, and that decision keeps getting reinforced in my life. So is that maybe what you mean? That's all. I mean, I don't regret becoming a neuroscientist, moving out west, being a Democrat. I don't regret any other decision or dwell on any other decision I've made more than that, about breaking away from my family.
How do you see yourself as a very self-aware person, or not that concerned with your own psyche and your personality?
I think you're right. I'm not very concerned about my own psyche. I am a mechanistic psychologist and scientist. I believe that not in a creator, but that there are physical processes going on that we try to understand. That you can call it luck, but that's no explanation for what's happening. The creation of life, not the creation of life, but the start of life. What happened on this planet happened for reasons, physical reasons. That's the way to understand life, not with a creator who said, I want it this way, and I want to make a man and a tree and the sun and the... No, those things happened. They don't happen often, probably, because so far we have not got any decent evidence that there is any similar happening anywhere else in the universe. But we have barely scratched the surface of the universe. We've examined only one drop in the ocean, and all we know is what we have here. So let's try to understand what's going on, cause and effect, science, about what's going on here.
Well, thank you for
Thank you.
taking the time,
Yeah,
Dad.
I hope my children appreciate this, you know?
Oh, I think they do. I
Good.
think we learn a lot in
Okay.
these sessions.
Bless them all.
Okay.
Thank you.